In ancient Lanka, a king mastered all 64 arts. He composed hymns that made the gods listen. He ruled with such wisdom that his people called him a second Brahma. Yet today, his name means evil. His name is Ravana. And his story teaches us something terrifying about human nature. 10,000 years before our time, in the island we now call Sri Lanka, there stood a kingdom unlike any other. Ravana was no common tyrant born from darkness. He was born a Brahmin, son of the sage Visrava and the Asura princess Kaikisi. From childhood, he possessed an intellect that burned like the sun. He studied the Vedas. He mastered mathematics, astronomy, medicine, music, and the art of war. The ancient texts tell us he composed the Shiva Tandava Statram, a hymn of such sublime beauty that Lord Shiva himself granted him a boon. Ravana did not seize Lanka through conquest alone. He earned it through intellect and devotion. His kingdom flourished. Trade routes connected Lanka to every shore. His treasury overflowed. His people prospered. Merchants sang songs of his justice. But Ravana carried within him a flaw, not a small weakness, but a canyon-wide chasm of pride and unchecked desire. The more he achieved, the more he believed himself invincible. The more the gods blessed him, the more he began to see himself as equal to them. His 10 heads symbolized his 10 supreme intellects, his mastery of all knowledge. Yet each head seemed to whisper the same poison, that he could do whatever he wished, whenever he wished. He gathered power upon power. He performed tapasya so intense that Brahma himself had to grant him a boon. Ravana asked for immunity from gods, demons, and celestial beings. He thought himself invincible. In his arrogance, he overlooked one thing, the human. He never feared a man. And that oversight would cost him everything. Then Sita came into his life. The wife of Prince Rama, a woman of incomparable grace and virtue. Ravana's desire for her was not born from love. It was born from the same poison that had consumed him, the belief that anything he wanted belonged to him. A king could take what he wished. A scholar could justify any action. A powerful man answered to no one. So he took her. He brought her to Lanka, to his palace, believing this single act would be forgotten, like so many others. But this time, he had crossed a threshold. This time, his flaw had found its perfect victim. Rama, the prince of Ayodhya, learned of Sita's abduction, and something within him crystallized into purpose. Not anger alone, but dharma itself called to him. He was not a god Ravana had insulted. He was not a celestial being seeking revenge. He was a man who loved his wife, and a warrior bound by duty. Rama crossed the ocean. He came to Lanka with an army. And slowly, inevitably, he marched toward Ravana's capital. The final battle arrives. Ravana fights like a titan. His 10 heads swing with 10 different strategies. His 100 arms wield 100 different weapons. He is brilliant. He is powerful. But he is fighting against his own nature, against the very dharma he had violated. Rama's arrow finds its mark. Ravana falls. The greatest king of Lanka dies not because he lacked genius. He dies because he believed genius meant he could rule his own desires. When Ravana fell, Lanka fell with him. His kingdom crumbled. The temples fell silent. The trade routes became empty. Everything he had built was forgotten in a single moment. But something strange happened in the centuries that followed. Poets began to whisper a different story. Great writers like Kamban and Valmiki started to see in Ravana not just a villain, but a tragedy. They asked the question we ask today: how can such brilliance fail so completely? The answer lies in a truth older than kingdoms: no amount of intelligence can compensate for unchecked desire. No achievement can save a soul that believes itself above consequences. Ravana's story lived on not as a triumph, but as a warning. His name became synonymous with villainy. Yet the deepest thinkers understood something else. They understood that his fall was not inevitable. Had he shown restraint once, had he chosen dharma over desire, his name would echo through eternity as the greatest king who ever lived. Today, we live in a world of unprecedented power. We have knowledge that would seem like magic to ancient kings. We have technologies that grant us abilities our ancestors could never imagine. And yet, Ravana's lesson grows more relevant with each passing year. Power without restraint destroys itself. Genius without wisdom becomes a weapon. Intelligence without dharma is just a sharper blade to cut ourselves with. We see this pattern everywhere: the brilliant mind that falls to corruption, the powerful institution that crumbles from within its own arrogance, the talented individual who believes rules do not apply to them. Ravana teaches us that our greatest enemy is not external. It is the voice within that says we are exceptional enough to be exempt. The moment we believe that, we have already begun to fall. His story is not about demonology. It is about the fragility of greatness and the permanence of virtue. When Ravana is finally remembered, he is remembered not for his 64 arts or his mastery of the Vedas, but for one moment when he chose desire over dharma. That choice echoes through 10,000 years. If this story moved you, if you feel the weight of Ravana's lesson, then you understand why our history matters. Subscribe to our channel. Every week, we uncover the hidden stories of Bharat, the victories and tragedies, the wisdom and warnings that shaped our world. Join us. Because the past is never truly past. It is always speaking to those who listen. Subscribe now.